We've got a couple of different platforms. We're on 4 platforms right now. And instead of doing episode 49 with our guest, we had a guest who had a last minute who couldn't make it. We're going to give you a little bit of a tidbit on what we're working on. And I know it's been probably 2 or 3 weeks since you heard officially about what we've done. But we did, as of today, I sent something. It was really cool. The 4 jackets that I posted yesterday night sold out by tomorrow morning. I woke up to all the messages, so I prioritized. They already got out. It ended up being a little bit better than normal. So I'm going to tell you that we are going to make another batch and another order. They typically take anywhere between 2 to 3 weeks to get. And I will make sure and get another batch out for those white jackets that have the Storm Classic logo. They are a one of a kind, and they are getting discontinued soon. So I've got to see how many they have left in stock so we can get those. That was kind of a cool thing about the sold out. Want to say hi to everybody. Hi, Emily. I also see Miley as well as James and Victor Barnwell. Hello. So we're on here. We're on here. We have 3 different cameras that we're looking at. So if I'm not looking at your camera, I apologize. We will get to you, but happy to entertain any comments, questions that's going on. So let me tell you what's up, because there's a lot of stuff that's up. Number 1, we had a gym reach out to us, and they want us to come do a posing clinic for the Storm Classic, probably anywhere between the middle to the end of June. It's going to be held in the southwest quadrant of Houston. So for those of you who are in Houston, I would like your take. I'm just curious if you guys would like a posing clinic with 3 or 4 of some of the top posing coaches in Houston, and we're going to get that together. That's going to be first on the priority list, as this gentleman graciously donated his gym for a Saturday. We just need to know which Saturday is good. We want to be obviously not in the way of any shows for a Saturday that might be NPC in Houston. So we want to be able to accommodate the folks who do want to be there. We also have another gym that reached out that said, hey, you are welcome to use as little or as much gym as you would like. We're probably going to do another one following up toward the end of August. And that is going to be also announced when we get that date locked down. But I want to get your feedback and take for those of you who do see this and say, you know what, I've got a show coming up. I'm doing this show in July. Would love to see a posing clinic at the end of June or right after the show. I'll come support and help with the posing clinic. We're going to be looking for, we have 2 or 3 posing coaches right now. We'd like to get officially 1 or 2 more. I'll be reaching out to a few of the folks that we have used in the past, and also that carry a lot of athletes and also can help and give you the correct posing. On that posing note, we are still in the process of talking about possibly bringing in quarter turns to bikini. So that's a hotly debated topic. I've gotten a lot of good feedback for people saying, you know what, I never understood why bikini was only judged on 50% front and back poses. That's it. The transition, they're really not judged on. And seeing quarter turns is typically not bikini-like. However, we did find that in Europe, they do use quarter turns in bikini. And now you're judged on each side of your body, which would be symmetry, proportion, muscularity, conditioning, posing presentation, all of these things that we look for in the judging criteria. We want to be able to see that in that division. So I'd be very curious as far as your feedback there. As far as how the show is going, it's going amazing. As a matter of fact, you'll see that the website is continuing to get improved by the week. We now have officially our hair and makeup vendor on there and her information. We have our tanning vendor. For those of you who already booked your tanning, I already know who you are because we do a running list every week of all of our vendors on who's signed up, who's made their deposits, and also who's registered. What's interesting is we sometimes have people do their hair and makeup and their tanning before they do their registration. So as we work hand in hand with that, we are able to see and get more of an accurate count as we get closer to the show. We're able to plan accordingly for the numbers. Now, here's what's cool. I did this today. We are 5 months and 1 week out. 5 months and 1 week out. I agree with you, my friend, John Benavidez. Posing clinics can be huge. And if you hold those soon and you want to partner up or need any help, let me know. I'm happy to volunteer and help you with that. I got distracted. 5 weeks or 5 months, 1 week. What that means is you officially have 21 weeks. So even if you haven't made your decision to compete yet, that's okay. As a matter of fact, most people do that 16-week prep. Depending on where you're at, if you need a little bit longer, maybe a 20-week prep, it might be worth looking at getting closer to making a decision to get in a show. If it's not our show, if it's another show, that's usually a good rule of thumb is you want to have your trainer, if you're using a trainer or a nutritionist in place about 20 to 22 weeks out. So you're right on par and right on point with usually how that schedule unfolds. And what most competitors do is they like to register for the show to give them that silent contract or that commitment. And then they are able to move forward in a way to where maybe that Reese's or maybe that cheat meal might be a little bit more on the back burner to hold better and higher level accountability the sooner they commit and sign up for the show. So I've talked to a lot of promoters, and what I found, and this is what's cool. There was a show at the beginning of October in Atlantic City, and they have already closed pro registration for them because they plan so far out. Those pro athletes plan so far out that they want in, and they also want to get on prep earlier because the more that's at stake for a show, the better you want to come in for it and not leave anything to chance. You know, as we talk about prep, we have some people who crash prep, which you know what I'm talking about. They decide at the last minute to do a show and they're already in decent shape. And maybe they come in at about 95% because they just made that last minute decision. That's totally cool. There's other folks who plan a little bit more or farther in advance to be able to, number one, be able to be okay with if they're not in, you know, and they still have 2 weeks, they can make those adjustments with their coach so they can come in better for the show. The longer you're on prep, and as long as you're doing it right, typically the better you can come in, and you can come in a way to where you can see those adjustments with carbs and your coach to be able to come in closer to 98 or 99%. I will tell you this, with $20,000 in prize money and open divisions that are being given away, you probably want to take whatever you can seriously, because I don't know too many shows who are offering $20,000 split up amongst the open divisions and giving that out as cash money and having pros and amateurs being able to compete together for that sponsored prize money payout. I will say that that is something that I would take seriously if it were me. If I was competing, it would make me look twice and say, man, maybe I want to really get in on this early. So that's going to help. Had somebody from, it was really cool. One of the gentlemen that I've known for many years, he's in the sport, and he goes, hey, what are the prizes for masters? And I'm like, well, what do they normally give at shows? And I thought about that for a second. And I'd like to know what you have actually seen at shows that would be really cool as a prize. So this is what we did last time we talked about this. What we talked about is we talked about necklaces and or tiaras for women's divisions, right? We talked about something, maybe having a necklace sponsor come in and give a really nice necklace, or the tiaras, of course, are a real big hit. Flowers, those little sashes, those are obviously a big hit too. Some people like the full-size Niels Anderson trophies with the wooden bases. Some people like medals, swords. Yes. Oh, I hope you guys saw the swords coming in. I just posted on Instagram. For those of you who are watching on Instagram, you're actually watching on the show page. If you go to the Matt Storm official page, or if you go to the show page, Storm Classic Show, you'll see that we had a buku amount of swords come in, and now they're sitting here in my office next to me. I would show you, but I have so many cameras, I can't actually shift the cameras over. We have like a stack like this high of boxes. So that is going to be for the overall winners in their division. They will be getting the very cool swords. Now back to Masters. You know, one of the things that I found is I've never really seen an overall with Masters, so I'm kind of toying around with this idea and would love y'all's feedback on it too. For Masters, I think that they do need to be rewarded. So when you talk about a 35 and up, a 40 and up, a 45 and up, a 50, 55, 60, I've even had ladies as 70, 72, 78 years old competing, and I could have swore they were 30 or 40 years old. They take care of themselves. And we want to do something for masters overall. So what if we did first place for every single masters? They go to an overall and win something. I haven't really decided what would be cool, and I haven't really heard much feedback. So if you do have something that you think would be cool for an overall masters, we might entertain that. And as I think about that, most of the masters individuals might not register for the open division, yet some of them might, and they could double dip. That's the beauty of being older. We want to reward people who continue in the sport to be not only healthy, but also continue to be able to give them a showcase where they have an even playing field. I remember being 36 years old and competing, and I asked the guy who I was doing the show with, I asked the promoter, I said, do you guys have a master's division? He goes, actually, our masters starts at 40, but if you can go get enough guys, we'll include or create a master's division for 35 and up. And I thought, cool. So 35 and up, it was born into that show, and we had 4 guys show up over 35 years old that did that. Now, I know Daryl said money. Yeah, there's only so much that can go around. So please keep that in mind is the only way we could really do money for, I think, any other division besides the open is to have the athletes help bring sponsors on and be able to have them contribute in a way where we could pay out maybe a masters and they're able to give out the big checks on stage. And I'm not opposed to it at all, by the way. That's how we get a lot of the open division money. I have basically given all my seed money. I'm putting in most of it, the majority of it myself. And these sponsors that are coming on, we're having them contribute. And therefore, it's going to be a sponsored payout on behalf of those sponsors. And so that's one of the reasons why we want to make sure that if you do want something, you can have it. However, we might ask you, the athlete, for a little participation or contribution to help get us to that level. I don't think I've ever seen a master's division have a prize payout. That would be cool. However, I'm also not going to promise it either. If you guys do think that's a cool idea, feel free and shoot me some possible businesses that you might want to think get involved. And I am happy to entertain that idea. I will contact those businesses. I will say whatever I need to say, let them know the information about the show. And the second part of that, so speaking to the Masters guys, is it's really not fair if only 5 Masters show up and they expect to make money and they expect to get paid out. So it would be very important to have healthy competition, a good number of people. What we're doing right now is everything went to print on the updated flyers and posters, and you will start to see that be distributed throughout different cities around the United States. So let's just say, for example, we have a gentleman in Canada who's coming down to compete. And he said, hey, I want to promote the show and help get the word out. Can you send me posters and flyers? My answer is absolutely. Give me an address. I will send some out to you. You distribute those in different gyms. For countries, it's a little different. So Canada, there are going to be some rules and regulations for those of you who are coming down here. I want to be super clear with that. And I just realized I didn't have the mic on me, so this might help. Hopefully that got a lot clearer. I always do that on these things. I don't know why. But for those of you who are in the United States, you're in Florida, you're in Alabama, you're in Arkansas, Iowa, California, Washington, Utah. I think I've talked to, 20 or 30 different athletes from different states, not including Texas or Oklahoma or Louisiana, or even Arizona for that matter. So yeah, we do have those things that will be available and will be out there. And we're happy to entertain that idea if you want to help bring that to life. So with that being said, what you'll see is, yes, we do have registration is currently in regular registration. Early bird registration is done. The price change happened officially May 1st. So somebody texted me and goes, is registration closed? I go, no, it's not closed, silly goose. We're just in regular registration. We wanted to reward those folks who knew they were going to do the show. There's some people who ask, can I be the first one to register in my division or class, or can I be the first one total? That's totally fine. Our kids' fitness is looking good. Our kids fitness doubles. I don't know exactly how that's going to turn out. I've heard of some words as, hey, I'd like to do a choreographed routine with one of my friends. We don't have that officially going like crazy yet. There are very few signups for it. However, we are going to still offer that. If there is a division that is lagging in registrations, we're going to keep it open. It just might not qualify in the open division payouts if we don't have more than 5 athletes. We need to have 5 in an overall in order to make it a compensated division. So I think I put that on the website. If I didn't, I will make sure and have that change. Ideally, we want at least 10 in that division, and we want 5 in an overall to battle for first, second, third, fourth, and fifth as far as overall. So the way that we're going to do the live judging overall is it is going to be a first through fifth placing. It's not just going to be a one overall winner and they get paid a full prize purse, if that makes sense. We're going to pay out to either the top 3 or we're going to pay out to the top 5, depending on how the registration for that division is going. And right now, things do look good in most of those divisions. There are a few that are struggling. However, in the main ones, as you guys know, typically bikini fills up, men's physique, wellness, men's bodybuilding, men's classic. Those are always the ones that at least have a good number of people. Typically where those registrations struggle, or they're in probably a later time when they end up coming in, what they do is women's physique and women's bodybuilding is a little bit lighter on numbers, or maybe sometimes they don't make as quickly because most of the ladies want to wait to see who's showing up, or they're not really sure how their prep is going to go because women's bodybuilding is much different from men's bodybuilding. And that's totally cool. So if that's the case, we will let you know as we go through. There is a show coming up in the Dallas Showdown area. We have Isaac Johnson, who, by the way, has absolutely knocked that show out of the park, and it hasn't even happened yet. If you don't know, he has 100+ athletes registered. And because he's done so well in his art of promotion, I think he had to shut down registration and be very careful about not having too many people in his facility. It's a very positive problem. You know, the signs of a good promoter, you're always going to hear about their show. They're going to be clear in their communication. We want to make it fun for the athletes. We want to make it fair in judging. And we want to be able to give back to the sport to continue every year to try and up our own levels of shows. And Isaac has been one of those guys. I know that Mark with Mr. America has always done that as well. You know, and this is a guy that I'm learning a lot from. You'll see down the list people who have been doing this for a while. Ed and Betty Parizo, John Sherman. These are guys who know how to run great events. And that's really, truly every promoter what they want to do. Whether they're able to do it or not is a whole different story. How do they set up their staff? How much are they spending on production? What are they giving away for prizes? Do they have an experienced staff? Are they able to know what's going to happen if variable occurs? How is their formatting? What does the venue look like? Is it easy to get in and get out of? Fly in, fly out if it's a national show? Do they have a hotel close? Is it family friendly? You think about all these different variables. And I think it's important that, you know, if you're thinking about a lot of these as a promoter, you might not be able to get every single thing nailed down. And as an athlete, the athletes pay attention. What's in their goodie bag? Did the athletes meeting start on time? Did it finish early or did it finish on time? Did they have rolling check-ins or did they have a meeting? During the check-in, were they able to get on stage and practice their walk? Do they know what the walk is? Do they know what the posing is? That's one of the reasons why we want to bring our posing clinics back. And so what we're looking at is the middle to the end of June, and we will be having different athletes and different posing coaches helping out and volunteering. We're also going to go over some show information for someone who's never heard of a Storm Classic or has never been to one. And we are working right now with a production crew to get it either live streamed. I don't know about the internet specifically because last year it was a little slow and that did chop up the live stream. So what I might do is I might pay that production company to film on 3 levels of cameras and 3 angles and then put the video together and then have that for release. For those of you who are athletes and you want to see the whole show or you want to see your part, I might have that available for something as far as a really small one-time deal to where you could have rights to be able to take that, do your review of how you walked and who you actually went with. I'm just throwing that around. Twitch is another live streaming example that we've been looking at. When we did our live stream back in 2020, we ended up reaching 7 different countries, and we also had 37 different states tune in. So I know Stephanie Perea just tuned in. She was a part of that show, and that was during COVID. So we found ways to get this done. However, the Booker T Arena was smaller, and the Wi-Fi was better because that's where they film pro wrestling, as opposed to the Moody Gardens Convention Center, which the Wi-Fi is typically not as good unless we're hardlined in. And we did have a tech available. However, I do want to make sure that it's not chopped up. And I want to make sure if anybody is tuning in, we did it free last year. If we're going to do a production on it, I need to look and see how we can do that production to make it work for the after of the show. And if that's of interest to athletes, let me know. Happy to look into that and happy to get that taken care of. So here is the big news. We sold out on our first round of jackets. I'm going to try and work on getting another round of the white jackets with the Blue Storm Classic patch on the lapel. We also have 2 more rounds of jackets coming in. Now, why jackets in the summer? It's 100 degrees right now in Texas. Why have those jackets? Because during prep, even if you go to the gym, you're typically not in a tank top or you're wanting to show off if you're in prep, you want to stay covered up. And, a lot of that time when you're doing cardio, you want to keep your body and your core warm. Well, jackets help out tremendously with cardio and while you're in the gym. And then when you go outside, you can take it off, you can sweat through it, you can do whatever you want to do. Some people like the Storm Classic logo and they like the feel of the jackets, and they use that for other things just besides working out. They might want to wear it out. You go to a restaurant, the air conditions are running top notch right now. I know coming into my house is set at 72 degrees. My kids get cold and they always grab my jackets. Same thing with restaurants. Same thing with movie theaters. If you're going to go watch a movie, go into that 50-degree thing and you're going to be freezing. So a lot of people asked about the timing, and I just had a demand for it. People kept asking me, hey, can I get a jacket? Yes, you can. And I don't have them on the website. They're actually special order. I'm happy to show you in the pictures. I'll post some on Instagram if you're interested. That's not what I'm here to tell you. But I will tell you that we will get more of those. The thing that I was curious about, there were a few things that I was curious about. I wanted to know what Masters competitors would really get them motivated or excited about competing in Masters. We already know that there's prizes like payouts, swords, Niels Anderson trophies, necklaces, tiaras. We have all of these things, right? We want to do something special for the kids. What we've done in the past as well is we've given backpacks, as well as, just things that we feel that kids would use, and we got their names engraved or embroidered on, can't engrave a backpack, their names embroidered on the backpack, which I thought was super cool. And they could take that to gymnastics or martial arts or anything that they did outside of the show. They were able to use that in real life. They would use it for sleepovers and really be able to benefit from that. So I would like to get feedback on what we can do to award for kids fitness. Some of the things that have been thrown around have been things that are health related, right? Obviously, we're not going to be giving them iPhones, or we're not going to be going too crazy with that. I want to make sure it's something that they will use, they will enjoy, and it's a classy gift that they get excited about. If you have any ideas there, let me know. For those of you who are continuing to tune in and just kind of see how the show is rolling along, when we announced this show at the beginning of the year, we were very excited about what can happen, and now it is starting to happen. However, we're not done working. We're always continuing to keep the ears on the street to say, hey, what can we do that you would like to see? A lot of the times, too, as competitors, I think more importantly than even the competitors would be the spectators. What is the designed format that's going to allow the spectators to really be engaged and involved and really get the most enjoyment out of the show? We're throwing those ideas around. So we've talked about a straight through format. We've talked about a morning and evening format. We've even talked about maybe a division by division format, which is what we did in 2020, to where we had all of the bodybuilders in the morning. And when they went on stage, they did their prejudging. And right after they were done with open, novice, masters, We immediately went back to open in bodybuilding, gave them their awards. They were done for the day. They could watch the rest of the show. They didn't have to hold over until the evening show. That has been something that we've been tossing around with the judging panel in our calls. And I would love to hear the feedback from that as well. So a lot of different things to think about. We're going to continue to give you updates and keep you updated as we go through. And if you do have suggestions, we want to hear about it. If you're thinking about competing and you have a question, we want to hear from you. For those of you who are registered, you're going to continue to get communication and updates from me, not only by email, but maybe by text if there's something that we need. If you're missing maybe a bio, Morgan Dean is going to be reading bios on stage again. So instead of waiting until the last minute, let's get them in right away so she can study that. And it makes the show run so much better. You know, what I am excited about too is we've upgraded our DJ system. And from what I understand, we are getting a tip-top premium level. I don't want to spoil it, but I have a guy at church and he does a lot of concert venues. I have access to that now, all of that equipment. And with what we have in store, we want to make sure that this ups the bar a little bit when it comes to pose downs. And let me be clear, we're not doing bikini pose downs. We're not doing figure pose downs. Cool. So there you go, ladies. You're welcome. We didn't find that they were all that excited about doing them. However, we will be doing overalls that are going to give you more stage time to make sure we can get it right on the scorecard. I'm excited about the equipment and what's going down because I just signed the contract for it. And matter of fact, it's right here. And that got sent in. Anyway, I don't mind investing money in things that I believe that make the event better. And I think that you guys, for those of you who want a great event, we're going to do our best to deliver for you. With that being said, we're going to keep this short. I wanted to keep it under 30 minutes today. We're on Instagram Live. We're also on Breakthrough. We're on Fireside Chat. We're on YouTube, and we are on Facebook Live right now. The one thing that I want to ask of you, and Crystal Woods, hello to you up in the Northeast. The one thing I want to ask of you is most of you know that a lot of this content lives on my YouTube page, which is the Friday Fitcast page. For those of you who are not subscribed to it, feel free. It's a free subscription. We would love for you to take a look at all of the past episodes. We are currently on episode 49. We have a lot of episodes where we have interviewed professional athletes. We've interviewed our sponsors. We've interviewed different promoters, different vendors, anything that we can do to give you guys more information about what's going on in our circle. We want to be able to make that public to you. So we're even on Spotify as well. And what I found is some people aren't able to watch while they're driving, but they can listen. So on Spotify, on Apple Music, we're all on there. You can find us on Friday Fitcast. And we want to be able to not only reach the audience that can see us, but also the ones that can hear us if they're traveling. And that was a request that somebody said, look, I can't see you on Friday. I'll watch the replay. I want to hear about it live in real time because if I want to go register for the show, I don't want to miss a deadline. So if I go to Storm Classic Show where the deadline's on there, well, September 1st. I knew that didn't sound right in my head. September 1st is when late registration is going to be. So we'll be in regular registration between now until September 1st. And so what that's going to allow us to do is keep our rates as they are so we don't have to increase any of our rates. We don't want to have to do it. We don't want to do it. However, it becomes a logistical nightmare and becomes really crazy when we have 80% of our athletes trying to register the last 4 weeks of the show. And that creates a lot of difference when it comes to the expenses, because if we have to hire a bunch more people or do a bunch more to the show and add more medals, they charge us for rush shipping on everything. So we're preparing according to how the registrations come in, if that makes sense. We have a pretty good idea of where we're going to land. However, we want to be more accurate so that way we don't over or underspend and then keep the prize monies and the awards. Make sure that you get them while you're there, as opposed to, oh, we ran out. Let me go ahead and send it to you in the mail. That becomes more expensive. It's more of a hassle and it's more time consuming. And you know what? Athletes want to be rewarded then and there. They want to be able to take it home with them and they want to be able to show it off at the show. So with that being said,
we'll finish up here. Guys, absolutely love all of what you're doing as far as the questions. I know I'm getting a lot of different responses through the website. So for those of you who have asked questions on the website, I answer you directly back in an email. For those of you who have texted me or called me, I had with a coach today, I had a call, and he wanted to know, okay, I've got 6 athletes. Where should they be? And I'm like, well, that's up to you. Here's what we have. And let me direct you to the information for the judging criteria so you and them can make a decision on where they feel most comfortable being in that division. So I'll try to give you all the resources and information that I have so you guys can use that to your advantage and we can have one heck of a show. With that being said, I just want to wish everybody a happy Friday. I want to thank you guys and gals and look forward to continuing giving you more updates as things get exciting by the week. We will also let you know when the new jackets come in. The next batch that's coming are going to be navy blue jackets. It's one of my favorites. There were 3 that I absolutely loved. One of them got discontinued, so we literally bought out whatever we could on they had left on the inventory in stock. And these are embroidered. They're not silk screened. They're not pressed. They are embroidered with the logo, and they look sharp. So I'll give that to you guys then. But until then, enjoy your weekend. Have a great Friday. We'll talk soon.